Hey, I'm Leah, the sick chick from spoonshares.com. Today I thought we'd talk about feeding tubes. Actually, there's a lot to cover on this subject, like a ton. So I thought I'd make a bunch of these videos covering all aspects of the tubey lifestyle. Maybe one a week? That might be a little ambitious for me, but I'll shoot for one a week. As you can see, I'm in my pajamas now. I'm not really showered. I didn't have enough spoons to shower and dress and video today, so I chose video and showing you how I normally look. I figure if you're watching this vlog, you probably understand. Here's a picture to prove I can clean up, but that's not today. I remember when I was first told I needed a feeding tube, I was desperately searching online. Most of what I found was end-of-life debates and archived articles in Terry Schiavo. Where did that take me back? But wasn't entirely helpful. What was helpful to me at the time was a video that a friend created who already had a feeding tube, and she showed me the apparatus, how it works. She answered a ton of my questions that I had, and it was the most comforting, informational, relieving thing possible at that moment. So I thought I'd pay it forward and make my own videos for anyone who needed to see it, because this is the video series I wanted to see when I was scared and desperately searching for answers online. Because not all people with feeding tubes are on life support. A lot of tubies look like me. I guess that's where we thought we'd start today. I'll tell you my story so we can put everything into context. Always know your information source's biases. I've had a feeding tube since July of this year, so this is all still new to me. I'll start at the beginning, so don't worry, I'll be plenty ahead of you. I got a feeding tube because I have gastroparesis, which means paralysis of the stomach. Basically, my stomach decided to stop digesting things about 3 years ago. It went on strike, and negotiations have not gone well. So I brought in a ringer. I call him Birdie because he digests the food for me. Birdie is a J-tube, which means he goes in my jejunum, which is the intestine past the stomach. The other type of feeding tube is a G-tube, which goes into your stomach. This is for people who, for whatever reason, can't swallow their food properly, but their gastric system still works just fine. G-tubes can be fed at a faster rate in a bolus feed because the stomach is a big pocket. J-tubes, because the jejunum isn't as big a pocket as the stomach is, have to be fed at a much slower rate. Which means, in order for me to get all the calories I need, I have to carry this thing around with me 24 hours a day. It's kind of a horrible physical embodiment of the burden of my illness weighing on my back. Like, if my life was a story I was peer reviewing in a creative writing class, I'd be like, the backpack symbol. Little obvious. But she gets me the calories I need without leaving me strapped to an IV pole, so I'm thankful for her. I named her Miss Piggy because she sits on my back and because I have to name everything. It's a sickness. And this is PETA, my actual pump. I named it PETA because it is a pain in the ass when it goes off in the middle of the night, or the movies, or the funeral. It's a problem. It's a kangaroo Joey pump, so when I'm feeling more amicable towards it, I call it Joey, but I'm getting ahead of myself. I have a J-tube because it allows me to bypass the stomach, which is the part of my body that has delayed emptying. Another type of feeding tube is an NG or an NJ tube. These are the tubes that go into either the stomach or the jejunum, respectively, but they go through your nose. It's not a long-term solution. It's used for people who need it in short term, so they don't have to have a tube surgically implanted like I did. I never experienced the nasal tube. My GI opted to go straight for the surgically implanted because it looked like it was something I would need long-term. Now, the feeding tube doesn't mean I can't or don't eat orally. I have a bit of dysmotility, which is medical speak for lack of gastric digestion in my intestine too. So I can only tolerate a feed of 35 milliliters an hour, which in my current formula is only about 1,000 calories. Not enough for a day. So I eat about 500 calories orally, which still isn't enough, but I'm trying to increase to a more calorically dense formula, so we'll see how that goes. Yeah, those are all the basics, but there's a lot to cover on this subject. Keeping the tube clean, traveling, picking a formula, dealing with the backpack, social stigma, stoma pads, swimming, belts, physical activity, explaining it to family and friends, bloating, the procedure of having the tube inserted itself, and I'll get to it all. But first I'm going to start with the decision to actually get the tube and how to come to grips with that mentally and emotionally. That'll be next week's video. I hope to see you there. In the meantime, I'd love to hear your stories, your questions, the things you want more information about, whether you are a tubie, a future tubie, a prospective tubie, or the loved one of any of the above. Sending spoons and love. Take care.